to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dupes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so with that all being said, also don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. With that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today. Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, hey, Miss Sheila. All hell nah is in the house. We the people. Terry Hinton, Jeff ATL, 504 NOLA. All right, Claudette, I see you, beloved. Let's get into it. Okay, most hated bronze flat power god, Buckhorse DC, DJ Big Six. All right, we the people. Angela is here. All right, shout out to everyone tuned into the Queen, and shout out to all of my loyal royals in the chat, my moderators for putting in work. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it because Trump has a whole lot going on, and he's doing a whole lot behind the scenes that people aren't really talking about. Okay, it isn't just the shenanigans he's had going on with the Epstein files, firing Maxine or Maureen Comey simply because she's James Comey's daughter. Okay, there is a whole lot of other things that Trump has been up to. So let's talk about it because he's playing some really dangerous games. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's playing some really dangerous games, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this whole thing with Paramount and CBS. Now, we know that they settled with Trump, and now Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal. And I find that interesting because here's the thing. Angela says Project 25 is real. It absolutely is. Okay, now here's the thing. Question is, why in the hell did CBS settle with Trump? Why did they settle with him? Like Trump was literally not going to win that battle, and they know it. Okay, so I have to agree with Stephen Colbert, who says that it was a big fat bribe, because that's exactly what it sounds like to me. What do you all think? Why would they settle with him? There was no way he was going to win. He's sitting there, he was suing them because he claims they edited the video with Kamala Harris. We know that media outlets edit videos and interviews all the time. That's part of it. Okay. He says they edited it to make her look better. Why? First of all, why was he so concerned about that? And then the nerve of him to file a lawsuit, but then they settled with it. Okay. That is complete BS. So let's talk about it. Now, they're saying that Paramount is sinking, okay, due to advertising and cable revenue decline. They say that broadcast ad revenue fell 21%, driven partly by absence of a Super Bowl and broader ad softness. Ongoing generational disruption. Consumers are cutting cable subscriptions, pressuring linear TV revenue, they say. Streaming losses as well as heavy debt load. Now, while streaming losses peaked in 2022, Paramount supposedly still lost $490 million. Okay? That's what they say. And then legacy cable networks took a massive $6 billion write down in August of 2024. All overall debt burdens and cost inefficiencies have weighed down the balance sheet, they say. So then there was a proposed $8 billion merger with Skydance, who's owned by David Ellison or led by David Ellison, which is now supposed to be waiting regulatory approval and facing scrutiny, mind you, over share payments and control. Now, analysts worry that non-voting shareholders are receiving unequal treatment, and the deal might ultimately dilute remaining share value, they say. And they're also calling this a management and cultural shakeup, saying a chaotic leadership overhaul in 2024 ousted longtime CEO Bob Bakish and replaced him with a three-headed office of the CEO. Now, supposedly the person who is purchasing this is Trump's friend. Okay? Paramount CBS parent is being acquired. Now, this is all supposed to take place. The deal is expected to close October the 5th. Okay, in just a few short weeks, October the 5th of 2025, pending regulatory FCC and DOJ approval. Now, this man, Ellison, is tied to Trump. You see, David Ellison, Skydance's CEO, is the son of Larry Ellison, who is widely known as a close friend of Trump's. Okay, please pay attention. Trump actually referred to Larry Ellison as the buyer of Paramount and mentioned that he's a friend of mine. Now, why does this link matter? Well, because Paramount recently settled a $16 million lawsuit with Trump over a 60 Minutes interview. Okay, they claimed that they went ahead and settled to avoid prolonged litigation. Now, there's people that have come out and criticized this whole thing, journalists and politicians alike. Okay, late night host saying that the timing hints at CBS and Paramount doing Trump a favor to smooth the path for the Skydance merger. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. Now, the wave of settlements and show cancellations, like The Late Show, and resignations at CBS have fueled speculation this is all part of an effort to please the Trump administration ahead of the merger approvals. It's exactly what it sounds like. Okay, that's exactly what it sounds like. And let's not forget. Now, here's the thing. CBS and Paramount state the decision is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. emphasizing that the cancellation is not related to the show's performance, content, or wider issues at Paramount. But despite strong ratings, Colbert's Late Show, which has led late night for 9 straight seasons, mind you, averaging around 2.4 million nightly viewers, now they're canceling it. Advertising revenue in the late night segment has dropped sharply and production costs remain high. Analysts estimate the show costs roughly $100 million per year and earned about $40 million less in revenue. This is all what they're claiming. I find that all convenient for them to be saying. Now, the cancellation occurred just days after Colbert criticized Paramount's $16 million settlement of the lawsuit that Trump brought against them for the 60 Minutes interview. He characterized the deal as a big fat bribe meant to appease the Trump administration overseeing Paramount's merger approvals with Skydance. Other critics include Senators Elizabeth Warren, Adam Schiff, and Edward Markey, along with the Writers Guild of America. They've all raised concerns that the switch may have been politically motivated, potentially influenced by a desire to curry favor and secure regulatory approval from a Trump-controlled FCC. Are y'all listening to this? Now, Senator Markey formally asked Paramount if any official in the Trump administration requested the cancellation following Colbert's on-air criticism, with responses requested by July the 25th of 2025. Do you all think this is just a coincidence? Stephen Colbert came out and announced the show was ending, and he told the audience, "I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away." He also reaffirmed that he found Paramount's settlement deeply offensive. Industry figures, including Jimmy Kimmel, Jamie Lee Curtis, and John Oliver, expressed shock as well as frustration at the cancellation, viewing it as a blow to the landscape of political satire in late-night TV. The Writers Guild formally called for investigations in New York and California into whether the cancellation was a response to political pressure rather than genuine financial necessity, as they should. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Do you all know how dangerous this is? If you don't know what Trump is trying to do here, now this is my opinion, but it all makes sense. You see, Trump is trying to have control, absolute control of the media. Now, he's suing the Wall Street Journal for basically putting that story out about his ties to Epstein. He sued CBS because he didn't like the interview, the way it was edited. The Kamala Harris interview was edited, said they did it to make her look good. So it seems to me that Trump is trying to be in control of the media. And then pretty soon he'll start running this place like North Korea. I want you all to pay attention, because the next thing you know, you will not be able to openly criticize Trump without specific consequences. Okay? You all do realize that, right? I mean, I know we've been talking about Epstein for days, and we're going to still talk about him some more. But at the end of the day, Trump, I have told you all a myriad of times that Trump is running this country like a whole mob boss. Okay? He should be hit with a RICO, in my opinion. All right? And his administration, all of his cohorts, should be co-conspirators. Andreas said total government control. Exactly. Greta Lee says freedom of speech is not free. Okay? I want you all to pay attention, because you do know in North Korea, you can't talk about the president. Okay? You can't criticize the president. And that's what Trump wants to happen here. Hold on. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. You see, in North Korea, it is strictly forbidden to speak ill of the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, as well as his predecessors, Kim Jong II and Kim the second Song. Criticizing the leader or the ruling workers or their party is considered treason, and in fact is a political crime. Punishments include imprisonment, torture, forced labor, or even execution. Not just the individual, but entire families. 3 generations can be punished under the guilt by association rule. Even a perceived lack of reverence, like not standing in front of a portrait or not mourning enough when a leader dies, that can all lead to punishment. People are encouraged to report one another, creating an atmosphere of constant surveillance and fear. You see, the system is designed to remain an extreme cult of personality around the Kim dynasty and eliminate any dissent before it can grow. Doesn't that sound like what Trump's doing? Are y'all listening to this? Doesn't that sound like exactly what Trump's doing? And didn't I, in fact, tell you all? Didn't I tell you all prior to the election that Trump wants to be a whole dictator? Exactly, Andrea. That's exactly what he wants to be. I told you all this. Now, before you know it, now he's sitting here waging lawsuits and war against any publications that dare to criticize him. And if you think that Stephen Colbert was not fired because he openly criticized the merger, well, think again, because that's absolutely why that man was fired as far as I'm concerned. Okay? I mean, the timing of it all. Colbert's Late Show was reportedly losing $40 million. That's easy for them to say now. But why all of a sudden now do they want to get rid of the Late Show? I find it all interesting. As soon as that man opened his mouth and said something, this is what happened. Let's get into this article. A new report is putting a spotlight on the finances of the Late Show as critics speculate the CBS cancellation was a political move to silence his anti-Trump rhetoric. Okay? Basically, anti-Trump host Stephen Colbert. Now, you know he's openly criticized Trump and made fun of him many times. Puck News' Matt Belloni reported the Late Show has been losing more than $40 million a year for CBS, and that it had a budget of more than $100 million per season, contrasting it with networks' daytime and primetime programming, which he noted were still profitable. Why would they get rid of the Late Show? Because if you ask me, the Late Show is one of the best things they have going. Okay? They say Late Show, with its topical humor and celebrity interviews pegged to specific projects, has struggled on Paramount Plus. And of the 3 network late night shows, Late Show has by far the smallest digital footprint on YouTube and other platforms, according to Belloni. So from a business perspective, the cancellation makes sense. Belloni said the sources he spoke with at CBS and Skydance Media, the company that is set to buy the network's parent company, Paramount Global, as part of an $8 billion merger, insist that Colbert's cancellation was based on economics, not politics, pointing to the decision to give his show a 10-month extension to May of 2026 instead of pulling the plug immediately as evidence. Still, 2 other people with deep ties to CBS Late Show suspect otherwise. After all, when a network decides that a show is too expensive, executives typically go to the key talent and ask them to take pay cuts, or they fire people or otherwise slash costs. What they don't do is cancel the show. See, that didn't happen here. Though with Colbert, he was said to be making $15 million and $20 million per year. A pay cut wouldn't have solved the problem on its own, they say. The veteran entertainment journalist went on to suggest that political motivations could be in play if Paramount goes on to also cancel The Daily Show, which airs on CBS's sister cable network, Comedy Central, but stressed, for now, I cautiously and skeptically believe that this was mostly an economic decision. Yeah, well, I don't think so. Now, that said, Belloni asked whether this was the dam bursting in late night or broadcast television, suggesting that Jimmy Kimmel at ABC, as well as Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers at NBC, could be next. Says, I've sensed that the networks have all been reluctant to be the first to pull the trigger on a cancellation in the historic time slot. CBS has now fired the opening shot, and it's reasonable to suspect that NBC and ABC will follow, according to Belloni. Well, we'll see. So, no, I wouldn't sleep well tonight if I were Kimmel or Fallon, though both have larger digital footprints and do a lot more for their respective networks. Fallon and Meyers have also been protected by Lauren Michaels, who produces both their shows. Although I wonder if even Lauren might recognize that the 12:30 slot is increasingly not viable and the sacred cows of television are being slaughtered one by one. Do y'all hear this? CBS said in its statement Thursday announcing the cancellation that it was purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night, adding that it is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. In a somber message breaking the news to his studio audience, Colbert said the folks at CBS have been great partners. However, he struck a vastly different tone on Monday when slamming Paramount's recent settlement with Trump. Saying, I believe this kind of complicated financial sentiment with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's called a big fat bribe, because it all comes as Paramount's owners are trying to get the Trump administration to approve the sale of our network to a new owner, Skydance. There have also been concerns within Paramount that not settling Trump's lawsuit would halt its Skydance merger, which needs the approval of the FCC. You all hear that? I find this all interesting. Greta Lee says people better rise up and take a stand before it's too late. Silence is complicit. Oh. Miss AP says, no crying, no dying. Politicians lying. Everybody's trying to make $1. Makes me want to holler the way they do my life. Okay? I know that's right, said Marvin Gaye. Monty said, Trump thinks he's God Almighty. He absolutely does. He absolutely does. Greta Lee said they canceled the Late Show because Trump threatened to halt the merger. Exactly. That's exactly what I think happened. Okay, I just want you all to pay attention because these are some of the things that Trump is quietly doing behind the scenes. And we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein and that whole situation going on with that. But there are other more nefarious things afoot. Okay? Because Stephen Colbert's show was one of the most successful on CBS. And they say now they're just going in a different direction. Why would you get rid of one of your best money makers? This is a serious power move by Trump. I want you all to pay attention. You see, Trump is playing political mind games. That's what he's doing. He's getting back at all his political enemies and all of that at once. He is running this country just like a mob boss. That's what he's always done. And he's doing even more so now, because now it seems almost to me as if he's got the Supreme Court in his pocket or something. Okay? I find it also interesting. And then people getting snatched up off the streets like we're in Nazi Germany. Please pay attention. This is all crazy. Now, they have been saying that they're giving all this money to ICE. They said that they're giving all these billions of dollars to ICE. What do you all think about that? I think that sounds really suspect. Okay? I think that all sounds really suspect. What are they giving ICE, allocating all this money to ICE for? And then they have masked people who don't announce themselves coming up and snatching people up off the streets like they're kidnapping them. Okay? Billions in bonuses to ICE. Let's talk about it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Billions in bonuses to ICE? For what? For what? Well, so here's what they say. They talk about, number one, massive budget increases. ICE has received billions in funding in recent years through congressional appropriations, okay, supplemental emergency funding tied to border crises. Now, this money is supposed to go towards hiring and retaining agents, expanding detention facilities, private prison, and contractor payments. Some of these allocations look like bonuses because of retention and recruitment bonuses for ICE officers and contractors, overtime and hazard pay during high stress periods like border surges, performance based contract incentives to private prison companies. What do y'all think about that? I absolutely think this is just another way. Now, this is just my opinion and I can't substantiate it, but I actually think this is a way for the government to perhaps launder money. Okay. That's what I think this is all about. The government's way of laundering money through ICE by acting like they need it for all of these deportations. And pay attention to how Trump keeps talking about invasions. Okay. Make it all make sense. So here's the thing. Now, ICE is set to pay out billions in hiring and retention bonuses, supposedly, thanks to a large funding boost from Congress, mind you. Okay. First off, one big, beautiful bill. Let's talk about it. Passed in early July of 2025, this massive budget reconciliation package allocated nearly $170 billion to immigration and border enforcement efforts. Specifically for ICE, it provided $45 billion to expand detention capacity, $29.9 billion for enforcement and deportation ops, plus $860 million earmarked explicitly for ICE hiring and retention bonuses. Now, they also have signing and returning employee bonuses. You see, ICE is offering up to $50,000 in signing bonuses to retired agents who joined the agents or who rejoined the agency, capitalizing on a federal provision allowing dual compensation. Okay, salary and annuity. Highlights include these lucrative incentives aimed squarely at rapidly ramping up staff numbers. Now, let's break it down. Retention and signing incentives add up to hundreds of millions annually for existing employees. When combined with the $50,000 for the re-entry bonus, it's estimated to total in the high hundreds of millions to over $1 billion. Taken together with infrastructure and personnel funding, it's clear ICE, traditionally a smaller agency, is now among the best paid federal law enforcement branches by budget allocation. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? I want you all to pay attention. Now, like Reggie said, that's a whole lot of cash. Exactly. Sounds like money laundering to me. Okay, under the guise of deportation. They claim to be addressing staffing shortages, saying that ICE needs more deportation and detention officers to meet its expanded mandate under the bill to bolster enforcement capacity. You see, these bonuses help quickly fill vacancies and incentivize experienced staff to return or stay. So basically, in a nutshell, ICE isn't pocketing the cash, they say. They claim ICE isn't pocketing the cash, it's simply dispersing billions in bonuses and expanded salaries as part of a broader strategy to rapidly scale up operations. That's all they're doing, folks. Nothing to see here. You see, that's what's fueling headlines about billions in ICE bonuses. Okay. I find it all so interesting. I find it all so interesting. Don't you? See, this is what Trump is doing behind the scenes, quietly, putting all kind of nefarious things in play. Now, with that all being said, let's do the funding comparison and a summary of broader implications of ICE getting these billions in bonuses and expanded funding. So now for the 2025 budget, it was at 60 billion. With the bonuses and incentive spending, that's another 1 to 2 billion, which is the largest boost in agency history, which they claim again is targeted at rehiring and retention, mind you. And then the Customs and Border Protection, that's $38 billion for the 2025 budget. But with the incentives, another 400 million, which they say is for border security, infrastructure, and hiring. And then there's the FBI, let's not leave them out, who had a budget of $12 billion, and now another 100 million with the incentive spending for smaller scale bonuses focused on tech and cybercrime staffing. And then the DEA, let's not forget, they had $3.5 billion for 2025's budget. And now with the incentives, they're getting the minimal. And this is focused more on equipment and surveillance than personnel. Now, then you have the ATF, who's also getting minimal from the incentives. They originally had a $1.8 billion budget for 2025, and now they're struggling to retain agents due to lower pay competitiveness. And then the U.S. Marshal Service, $4 billion for 2025's budget with moderate incentives, includes high-risk assignments incentives. So ICE is now better funded, you guys, than the FBI, the DEA, and ATF combined in annual budgets, making it one of the most powerful law enforcement agencies by sheer source or resource allocation. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? I want you all to pay attention, honey. I want you all to pay attention. Vince I am from the UK said, has Trump finished building the wall now? What wall? Okay. Does he even still mention that wall, beloved? I find this all interesting. See, I was up late last night thinking about all the BS that Trump's been up to. When I was doing some more research on him and Epstein, and I was like, he's doing some other stuff too. Let me just see what else he's up to. Because this whole Epstein thing could just be a distraction at the end of the day. This is all crazy. When I tell you all, Trump is slowly taking away rights and privileges. But let's talk some more about the big, beautiful bill, because I think that there's a lot of things about this bill that people just don't know. So let's get into it. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. So remember how they were talking about no taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime? Remember all of that? Now, with that all being said, let's get to the good part. So here's the thing. Now, the federal One Big Beautiful Act, which was signed into law, for those of you who don't know, July the 4th of 2025, officially eliminates federal income taxes on tips and overtime pay, but only for 3 years. Okay, did y'all know that? It only goes until December the 31st of 2028. Okay, did you all know that? Did you all know that it's not permanent? It's only for 3 years. Okay, employees who regularly receive tips, like servers, bartenders, hairstylists, delivery drivers, etc., can now deduct up to $25,000 of cash or charge tips annually from their federal taxable income, up to $25,000. This benefit begins with the 2025 tax filings filed in 2026 and phases out for incomes over $150,000 or $300,000 for joint filers. Okay. It only applies to federal income tax. Tips are still subject to Social Security, Medicare, and potentially state and local taxes. State tax treatment varies, as you know. Now, as far as the overtime, the no tax on overtime, workers receiving FLSA mandated overtime pay, time and a half for hours over 40 hours a week, can deduct up to $12,500 or $25,000 for joint filers from federal taxable income. Did you all know this? Only covers the half premium portion of overtime. Okay? So basically 0.5 times the pay above base rate. Double time or state contractual overtime, like California's daily overtime, that does not qualify, just for an example. Now, this all starts at the 2025 tax year, phased out over income thresholds, same as tips. It expires December 31st of 2028. Okay? You all see what I'm talking about here? See, Trump thinks he's slick because he knows that when he does this kind of stuff, most people aren't going to read the fine print, are not going to delve too deeply into it. They're just going to hear the good parts that he's always talking about. Okay? What people don't seem to realize is that actually, with this sort of policy in mind, in place, you'll probably end up just barely breaking even or may even end up with less money. And why would you do that? Well, because we're paying more in taxes for food and gas and other things. And this is all due to the tariffs that Trump put in place. Okay? This is all due to the tariffs that Trump put in place. So like I said, you probably just break even, or you might even come out on the short end of the stick. But it definitely is not going to help you, okay, in the long run. And in fact, another thing is most people don't receive tips, and then many people are going to absolutely need to work overtime to stay afloat. Claudette said, so basically he duped his voters. Typical. Exactly. Isn't that what he always does? Is lies just to be lying? And you know who are the main people that are responsible for Trump and his rise to power and his nefariousness? It is people like Elon Musk. It is people like Elon Musk. Oh, yeah, he's mad at Trump now and wants to try and expose him for the Epstein files and all that. But it's people like Elon Musk. And I want you all to pay attention because there are a lot of Elon Musk that have backed Trump. And we need to be boycotting all of these people. See, we need to start calling out these rich people who sit there and control government behind the scenes with their power, money, and influence. Okay, see, the thing about Trump is an opportunist. He doesn't give a darn about this country or the people in it. All he cares about is himself. Because that's what opportunists do. They only care about themselves and what's going to benefit them. So with that all being said, partially the people that are responsible for Trump's rise to power and the nefarious things that he's doing right now are people like Elon who give him all of these donations. Remember that $250 million, wasn't it, that Elon gave him for his campaign? See, these people do this so they can be behind the scenes telling Trump what to do, giving him ideas and getting things passed that's going to benefit them. We need to start calling those people out. Now, they called out Elon because Elon was blatantly right in our faces doing it. These other people, they do it in the dark of night, behind closed doors. Whispered deals that nobody knows about unless they were in the room to witness it. You see, we need to start calling these people out, conducting investigations to find out exactly who is putting the money in Trump's hands, who's greasing his palms. That's my next order of business. Please pay attention, because at the end of the day, Trump is running the government like a mob boss, and he's fattening his pockets and setting things in place so he can be a whole dictator. That's what he's doing. I mean, you got people jumping out. These people that are ICE agents, you have these people jumping out without mask or with mask on, not identifying themselves and all kind of craziness. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. Hold for a second while I pull up my next receipt. So you have ICE agents wearing masks, and they say this is for officer safety, to protect agents from being identified, especially during operations involving gangs or organized crime, to prevent retaliation against them or their families. Are y'all listening to this? And then they talk about operational security, how masks can help prevent suspects from recognizing or tracking the officers. Who's going to be looking for them? It reduces the risk of future compromise in undercover or repeated operations. And then they even bring up the pandemic, saying that they're used for health reasons, which blurred the line between health protocol and anonymity. And also for coordination with other federal agencies, they say. That's another excuse. When working alongside groups like DHS or federal task forces, ICE agents may use military-style gear and face coverings for uniformity and intimidation. Intimidation. Do y'all hear this? So what is this? And why is it controversial? I'll tell you why. Because this is like they're just kidnapping people up off the street, snatching people up off the streets while you're wearing masks and haven't properly identified yourselves. What do they think this is? Nazi Germany? Because that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Queen Sam says, so the new Klan members' hoods. Exactly. Isn't that what that reminds you of? The night riders, the masked men coming to snatch people up in the middle of the night and whisk them away for a lynching, no less. It's controversial because there's a lack of transparency. You see, masked officers often refuse to identify themselves or even show badges, which can lead to fear and confusion and definitely intimidation. But that's what they want, apparently. Makes it difficult for people to verify whether they're being detained by legitimate authorities. What if you retaliate because you don't even know what the hell's going on and you think that somebody's trying to rob you or accost you? There's a whole lot of trafficking going on in this country. Do you really think this is a good idea? Because I don't. It's also a violation of civil rights, snatching people off the street without probable cause or a warrant, especially without identifying yourself. This all raises constitutional and due process concerns, people. And if they're doing it to illegal immigrants, well, you don't think they'll be doing it to us sooner than later? You see, that's how it all starts. They start targeting one group of people, and then next thing you know, it's widespread, and anybody can get it. Okay? Anybody can get it. Just like Leon said, all guardrails are gone. I mean, is this the Gestapo that we're living under? Are we in Nazi Germany, no less? And this is an abuse of power. Masking can shield agents from accountability in cases of unlawful detention or excessive force. This is true. But what about public fear and distrust? These unmarked vehicles they're allowed to roll up on you in. Masked agents, unmarked vehicles, it's given secret police. Okay? Sounds like the Gestapo to me. Now, this tactic, of course, has been widely criticized, especially during protests and immigration raids. And how is this even legal? How is this even legal? You see, technically, while ICE agents can wear a mask, especially if it's part of a tactical unit or a high-risk operation, but unmarked arrest without identifying oneself, now that can be legally challenged. And it has been, in fact. And some courts and legal scholars argue that it absolutely violates the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. Okay, unreasonable seizure and due process. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Okay? I want you all to pay attention because this is what President Trump is doing with his low down and nefarious self. All right? This is very dangerous, beloveds. Let me give you an example of how this can be dangerous. There were Portland protests back in 2020. One's in the chat if you all remember that. The Portland protest, I reported on that. One's in the chat if you remember. This was in 2020. And what happened? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Federal agents, some from DHS and reportedly ICE affiliated units, wore military-style gear with no clear indication. And then they grabbed protesters straight off the street and took them into unmarked vans. Do you all remember that? Now, this raised so many concerns. These agents wore masks and refused to say who they were. There was no probable cause or warrants that were provided at the time of these arrests. These people were kidnapped. Okay, that's what that is. It triggered national and international backlash, with some comparing it to authoritarian tactics. Oregon's Attorney General sued the federal government over these detentions. Now, just imagine that. So don't think it can't happen. It's happened before. Protesters snatched off the streets. For anybody that doesn't think it can happen to you, think again. Because some people will say, well, you know, I don't care about them snatching these illegals up. They're not supposed to be here anyway. They should have come legally. That's them, not me. But oh, it can be you. Suppose there is some sort of civil unrest. Suppose something happens where people want to take to the streets and protest. And then they go back to the same tactic they used back in 2020 for the Portland protest and just start coming out with masks and unmarked vehicles and snatching people up and taking them to warehouses where nobody knows where they are and they're not allowed to make phone calls. Okay? What about the ICE raids in sanctuary cities that happened in 2019 to 2022? In cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, the ICE agents were wearing masks and tactical gear, and they carried out sudden arrest of undocumented immigrants. Now, why was that sparking controversy? Because agents were sometimes accused of impersonating local police or simply refusing to identify themselves. Reports showed people being detained without being informed of their rights or even the charges. This is all dangerous games, people. But this is what Trump is allowing. Then there was the Brooklyn arrest of the protester in July of 2020. Do y'all remember what happened? Let me tell you in case you forgot. A plainclothes team wearing masks pulled Nikki Stone, a transgender activist, snatched her off her skateboard and into an unmarked van. Now, the NYPD later confirmed that it was their warrant squad. Now, why does that even matter? Well, because though technically not ICE, this incident mirrored ICE's tactics. It added to public confusion about who is arresting people and whether due process is being followed. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. This is all very dangerous. Okay? This is all very dangerous. Now, God Wendell Blunt says American citizens are next and happening right now, both white people and black people, except God. Checkmate. Okay? And that's exactly what I've been telling you all, that this is not just about illegal immigrants. This can happen to any of us at any given time. Once you open the door and let the devil in, you can't control the devil and you can't contain him. He's going to start doing whatever he wants. And that's what people did when they voted Trump back in the White House. They've let the devil in. And now we're all going to have to deal with the consequences of what this devil is in fact doing. I want you all to pay attention. This is why we need to absolutely start boycotting these people, these private donors who are giving Trump and other political devils all this money. Okay, Leon said these are dangerous times. Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing that Trump did is he removed the safeguards from AI. Okay, let's talk about that. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now listen to this. Miss Sheila says, stay prayed up, watch as well as pray. That's what the book says. Exactly. That's what we all better be doing. Okay? No lies detected. So now, Trump basically removed the safeguards from AI, okay, and crypto. I want you all to pay attention. This was all involved in two major executive orders that Trump, your president, signed January the 23rd of 2025. How many of you knew this? See, this is the stuff he's doing in the background. I need you all to please pay attention. This is what he's doing in the dark of night, silently behind closed doors, making backhanded deals and all sorts of things. Palms being greased, money being given, lawsuits being settled that he could never have won. These people are all aiding and abetting Trump. I want you all to pay attention. Now, Trump signed this executive order, or these two major executive orders, January the 23rd of 2025, like I said, revoking Biden-era safeguards. Now, what exactly did he do? Well, let's get into it. He rescinded Biden's executive order 14110, which was issued October the 30th of 2023, which had required robust testing, reporting, and agency oversight, okay, of advanced AI systems. Then Trump decided to let me just rescind this that Biden put into play and let me just replace it with my own, which he did. And that was through Executive Order 14179, where he removed barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence, which reversed many of those safety mandates and emphasized speed, innovation, and minimal government constraints. Now, why would he do this? I'm so glad you asked. You see, this is why Trump did it. He framed Biden's safeguards as impeding U.S. global competitiveness in AI, asserting that they imposed unnecessary bureaucratic burdens, hindering private sector innovation. Now, this was a key political theme for Trump and his allies, okay, which centered on deregulation and asserting the U.S. as the global leader in AI and digital infrastructure. That's what Trump wanted to do. Okay? That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make the U.S. the global leader in AI and digital infrastructure, and he didn't give a damn about safeguards. And why do we need safeguards for AI and crypto? Why do you think we need it? Think about cars that drive themselves. You need safeguards for things like that because these cars can be hacked. Okay, they can go awry. These things can be very dangerous. But all Trump cares about is his power, okay, and abusing his authority. And then let's talk about removing the restrictions and banishing CBDC as it pertains to crypto. So he revoked Biden's executive order 14067 from March 2022 that had supported CBDC, which is central bank digital currency research and more cautious oversight of digital assets. Then he issued his own Executive Order 14178, strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology, which explicitly prohibits federal CBDC development. directs agencies to remove related guidance and sets up a new working group to draft a more crypto-friendly regulatory framework in 180 days. Now, why did he do it? He campaigned as a crypto president, remember? Reflecting a shift from skepticism. Bitcoin is a scam, he said, during his first term, to enthusiastic support post 2024. Positioning the U.S. as a global crypto hub. That was his move, aimed to open banking custody of crypto via the SEC policy, mind you, and even explore a U.S. crypto stockpile or reserve. Okay? Now, mind you, let's talk about the broader context of it all. DJ Major Scaling Up says, which is why there is a movement to move forwards the left. Now, these moves align with Trump's broader deregulatory strategy under, you guessed it, Project 2025, aiming to roll back Washington's role in overseeing emerging tech like AI and crypto. Now, insider reports say that tech and crypto firms expecting a friendlier regulatory environment have seen related legal challenges dropped and institutional oversight eased. So basically, in a nutshell, Trump removed Biden-era AI and crypto safeguards to pivot the regulatory landscape sharply toward innovation, market freedom, and U.S. competitiveness with minimal oversight, mind you. Okay? I find it all interesting, don't you? This is what y'all's president has been doing. The whole Epstein scandal isn't the only thing that he's got cooking. Okay? And speaking of that, let's get into this video. You know, here's the thing. As Trump's been doing all of this stuff, he's had supporters and critics. Now, the supporters say that startups and certain tech leaders, they've welcomed deregulation as reducing burdens on AI and R&D and fostering innovation, they say. Critics have basically said it is a witch hunt in academia, claiming it could drive talent abroad. Concerns grew that dismantling the NIST role might result in the closure of AI, SI, and widespread layoffs for tech researchers. You all think Trump cares about that? He doesn't. I assure you he doesn't. And then corporate stakeholders warned that the strategy could exacerbate regulatory fragmentation, creating compliance headaches across state jurisdictions. Now, they had separate hearings at the House Energy and Commerce Committee where they saw tech execs like Eric Schmidt urging the administration to accelerate energy and immigration reforms to support AI growth. Honey, when I tell you Trump is playing some dangerous political mind games, okay? This is all crazy. Miss Sheila said, I was watching a video last night about people making phony AI content creators on social media. That's crazy. It is crazy. It absolutely is. Leon said he's dangerous. He absolutely is. Very dangerous. And I don't think that his supporters and the people that voted for him realize exactly how dangerous he is. But he absolutely is dangerous. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about this whole situation with an former casino owner, casino executive, what he had to say about Trump and Epstein. Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Alice says, I don't think Trump's smart enough to think about these steps. Who behind him is the problem. Yes. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. These rich people donating all this money to him, people like Elon. See, Elon was openly criticized. And really, I want you all to think about it because this is historic, whether you notice it or not. Elon was publicly criticized. People boycotted him. People started trashing his businesses and setting Teslas on fire and all of that. This is like one of the first times I can recall something of the sort ever happening, where a rich, wealthy person was basically terrorized, dragged, boycotted for trying to get their hand, involved in the political sphere, paying to try to have a piece of control over government. He was publicly criticized and boycotted. And that's what we need to do to all of them. Not anything violent, mind you. I'm not talking about tearing up their businesses or setting things on fire. None of that. But what I am saying is that we need to call these people out. We need to call these people out and let them know that when you're doing things to help Trump, to aid and abet Trump and his nefariousness, that's going to cost us all in the long run. We're not going to any longer support you. We're not going to buy from you. We're not going to help you. Period. Okay, D. Major Skellen says 2 words, Stephen Miller. Exactly, beloved. Okay, remember I told you all about him? Now, he previously was the one who was writing Trump's speeches or whatnot and advising Trump. This man is a wanton supremacist, as I told you all months ago. And definitely, he needs to be looked into. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, I'm going to go to this video so we can hear accounts detailing Trump and Epstein's friendship as witnessed by his former casino executive and the warning that he gave Trump about Epstein years ago. Let's get into it. Trump needs to sit down somewhere trying to lie and act like he was not a fan of Epstein's when he was more than a fan, in fact. And they were good friends. In fact, it has been stated that they were, in fact, best friends. Okay, let's get into it.
That the FBI should look into the Epstein case, but not necessarily because of Epstein's actions, but because he says it's a scam pushed by Democrats.
But they ought to look into the Jeffrey Epstein hoax too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
Just to be specific on timing, Epstein was investigated and arrested during Trump's first term. Now, Trump and Epstein, of course, were once friends. Trump's talked about that in the same circles decades ago. This photograph goes all the way back to 1997 in Mar-a-Lago, so it's a long time ago. And Trump hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing in the Epstein case. Out front now is Jack O'Donnell, the former president and chief operating officer of the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino. Jack, just as all this conversation comes up, we've talked to you many times over the years, you and I, but you worked with Trump in an important period, 1987 to 1990. And I know that's, we talk about a lot of this friendship going back that long. You heard the name Jeffrey Epstein a lot during the time you worked with Trump. Can you tell us about their friendship?
Oh, sure, Aaron. First off, it's laughable that it wasn't a good friendship, if not his best friend during those days. I mean, he frequently came down to Atlantic City, the two of them, to attend special events. I heard reference in several conversations, and in one conversation where I had to specifically talk to him about Epstein and his presence in the casino. So it was. It was, in my mind, it was his best friend, from really the time I was there for 4 years. His name was, not constant, but it came up quite a bit.
And you're saying they would, from what you would call, come down to the casino together. I mean, Trump has called Epstein a terrific guy, a lot of fun to be with. Now, that was a New York Magazine interview all the way back in 2002, predating any of these any knowledge of Epstein's nefarious actions. More recently, Trump has downplayed his relationship with Epstein. Back in 2019, he said this, and this is right after Jack Epstein was taken into custody.
I knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him. I mean, people in Palm Beach knew him. He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I was not a fan of his. That I can tell you. I was not a fan of his.
That doesn't really fit with what you're saying.
No. No, Aaron, it doesn't. And, one incident that I think kind of, proves their closeness and how much they hung out together. One time, a Monday morning, I came in and the commission was waiting. The inspectors were waiting in my office. And Donald and Jeffrey had come into the casino in the wee hours of Sunday morning, 1:30 in the morning. Two buddies. They had three women with them. And the commission was waiting for me because they had determined that the women that they brought down were underage to be on the casino. And when I asked them how they knew that, by the way, one of them was the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world. Okay. And this guy happened to be a tennis fan. And he said, Jack, I know she's 19 years old. Okay. So, and to get on a helicopter with a friend and 3 other people and fly down to Atlantic City. I mean,
3 reasons why Black Girl Vitamins collagen powder should be avoided. Number 1, each scoop is packed with.
You can connect those dots. They were pretty
at 1:30 in the morning. And just to be clear, the story, when you say underage for the casino, underage for the casino would be 21, right? So not necessarily legally underage girls, right? Not in that case.
No, not in the sense of a minor, so to speak, that's been described with Epstein. They were underage to be in the casino, and they knew for fact that one of them was 19 years old. Nobody carded them, by the way, because either the commission staff or my staff, because they were intimidated to do so. And that's why the commission was actually going to fine me for Donald's discretion. Now, one of the things that they made me do is they made me call him. And I had to, believe it or not, read him the riot act about this action because they gave him a break. Back in those days, and I think even today, the fines are substantial. They can even suspend your license for letting minors in the casino. And I had to call them and say, look, they're giving you a break this time. But if this happens again, the fine is going to be substantial and it's going to be on your head. And oh, by the way, it's not going to look good, you and this guy Epstein coming down here with these young women.
What did he say?
Oh, well, he was shocked that they let him off the hook, first off. He was flabbergasted. He said, I can't believe they're they're not throwing the book at me. Nobody gives me a break. And that really was his reaction. And I did tell him in that conversation, I don't think you should be hanging out with this guy, just so you know, and you certainly shouldn't be doing that in Atlantic City.
All right, Jack O'Donnell, thank you very much. And for all of this and sharing your recollections here. I appreciate it. It's always good to talk to you. So now you hear what Jack had to say. I want to go to the veteran investigative journalist, Barry Levine, who is the former executive editor of the National Enquirer. He was in that role for 17 years. The author of The Spider, Inside the Criminal Web of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, where he led an exhaustive investigation into Epstein. So Barry, you hear what Jack had to say. The Jeffrey Epstein case better than almost anyone. So when you take a step back and you look at all this firestorm right now that is out there, what key information is still being withheld from the public?
Well, Aaron, certainly, I first want to say that calling this thing a hoax is such an insult to Jeffrey Epstein's victims. As the Justice Department told us, there's about 1,000 victims who had been abused, and for this to be called a hoax is just horrible. Say that to the woman who swam from his island to escape. Say that to the families of 3 of his victims who have passed on, 1 from suicide, 2 from accidental overdoses. So, I'm absolutely appalled at as how Trump is handling this situation. But there is still so much that we can learn from these files, and I think that. As the speaker said, let's see transparency here, because not only can we learn more about men who are in his circle, who are in his web, as I wrote in my book, who were involved in this, but we can also learn the financial connections of how the money was distributed to him. I mean, it took millions of dollars for him to maintain this operation over 2 decades. And we need to see exactly how the FBI treated this, who they investigated, were there financial crimes here of individuals that need to be looked at.
So just a few moments ago, Barry, before you and I were speaking, just before the show came to air, the federal prosecutor for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Maureen Comey, all right, that's her name. Does the name sound familiar? It should, because she happens to be the daughter of the former FBI Director James Comey. Okay, so she was just fired. All right, she was just fired. She's James Comey's daughter. She was the one looking at this case. Let's just take politics out of it, because I know there'll be politics all over this one, right? It'll be flies over a carcass. But you're very familiar with her work. What do you make of her firing?
You know, it is another situation here in this week of absolutely horrible things that have come out of Trump in terms of this firing that's taken place. She was such an advocate for the victims of sexual abuse. She took part in the successful prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell. She was on the team for the Jeffrey Epstein prosecution in 2019. Just an excellent part of that team in New York and the Southern District. And for this to go down, the circumstances, they're too similar as to what he said about her father. And then you have this result. So it looks to me like it is just she was knocked down because of her dad, and it's sad.
Well, it's important now. You know, you've written the book and done so much on this. It's important that you can talk for the facts of her performance and who she was and what she was doing, and that's what matters. So, Barry, thanks so much. I appreciate your time and you taking the time to talk to me.
Today we are setting up this Chick-fil-A.
Okay, so you all heard that. These are all the things that Trump is involved with right now, okay? Basically, he can no longer deny his Epstein ties. He just may as well just come clean at this point, as far as I'm concerned. And you all heard what that man said. He said that Maureen Comey was fired because of her father. Just like I told you all. Okay, just like I told you all, fired because of her father. It wasn't anything to do with the Epstein files, because in fact, she also was blocking those files from being exposed. Although she was doing so for a different reason than Trump. Okay, she says that she was doing so to prevent the victim's information from getting out there. But at the end of the day, Trump absolutely is nefarious. Okay. Reggie says, no. They wanted Trump in office. Don't forget the January 6th thing. These are the set people complaining. Exactly. Isn't it something? His own bunch, the MAGA people. They're the ones complaining and upset and mad and bent out of shape now. Well, don't get mad now. Don't cry foul now. Okay, now that they found out that Trump's just a liar who lies. But didn't people try to warn them? And now they see. And the scary thing is that Trump could become a president that is known. This is all real crazy. I want you all to pay attention. Trump could very well become a president known for his ties to a whole PDF file. Okay? And what do you think that says about him and how that makes him look? All right? You know that old saying, birds of a feather, is all I'm saying. So please pay attention. And at the end of the day, Trump is trying to drive us to a place where the government completely controls media, and you can only say what they allow you to say. And you dare not say anything negative about him unless there be consequences. Okay, just like in North Korea. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. All right, slowly but surely stripping away our rights and freedoms right before our very eyes, playing in our faces. Okay, it's all very dangerous games, political mind games, and Trump's nefarious political power moves. That's what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay, D. Major Skellin said some Black people or people of color voted for Trump too. Yes, of course they did. Of course they did. Specifically, these people of color. Now, I would imagine that only a handful of Black folk voted for him, because most Black folk did, in fact, vote for Kamala. But at the end of the day, some of them did vote for Trump, and I know they're probably crying somewhere in the car right now. And a lot of these brown people are definitely crying in the car because now they're getting snatched up by ICE. Some of them who are even here legally are getting snatched up. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. This is all a mess. Okay, this is all a whole mess. But we shouldn't be surprised. Okay, we should not be surprised. But let me tell you all something. Let's talk about these people, these companies that helps Trump regain power. Let's talk about it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Let's talk about it because we already know Elon was the main one. Okay. Hold on, beloveds. Let's have a brief word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Now let's talk about some of these companies because, like I said, they need to be, we need to be calling these people out. We need to be calling these people out, and we need to start boycotting these people and these corporations who are doing things to put people like Trump in power, okay, for their own gain and benefits. So the major corporate and executive donors to Trump's 2024 inauguration committee, let's talk about it. First of all, we have Pilgrim's Pride Corp. Okay, they gave $5 million, the single largest company donation. Okay, Pilgrim's Pride Corp. Now, with that all being said, what exactly do they do? Hold on, let me look this up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So this is a major poultry producer that owns several brands and subsidiaries. These include Pilgrims, Just Bear, Golden Plump, Gold Kissed, Pierce Chicken, T. Rico's Del Dia, and Ala Mesa. Okay. So they're in the poultry business. Please pay attention. Then we have Ripple Labs. Now, this is a cryptocurrency firm, and they gave Trump $4.9 million. And then you have Meta. We all know that's owned by Zuckerberg. Okay, they own Facebook and Instagram. $1 million donation. Amazon gave a $1 million donation. Okay, Apple, through the CEO, Tim Cook, gave a $1 million donation. So they specify that this was done through the CEO, Tim Cook. All right. Uber and the CEO, Dara Narashahi, individually gave $1 million each. Uber and the CEO. Alphabet and Google, $1 million, and provided live stream support via YouTube. Isn't that interesting? Y'all hear that? Do y'all hear that? I want y'all to pay attention. You see all these people in Trump's pocket? Adobe, C3 AI, Citrix, Perplexity AI, each gave $1 million. Micron, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, Microsoft each gave at least 6 figures. Many donated $1 million. Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Hyundai, Stellantis gave $1 million each. Some also providing vehicles for inaugural events. Did y'all know this? Did y'all know this? See, I've been doing my research and I find it all very interesting. Indeed, Major Scaling Up, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. And then you have Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, JP Morgan, BlackRock. Oh, BlackRock, isn't that interesting? Don't they own just about everything? And others in finance each donated at least $1 million. Then you got AT&T, Comcast, Charter Communications, and Telecom. They gave large sums similarly. And then in the health industry, pharma, you have Pfizer, Hims and Hers, Pharma, that's spelled PHRMA, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Amgen, 6 figures to $1 million levels. Delta Airlines, McDonald's, Target, Walmart, Visa, $1 million or near that. Some returning donors after long breaks. I want y'all to pay attention because y'all sitting out here boycotting Target about DEI. These other companies gave all this money to Trump, who's the one that took away DEI and a myriad of other things. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Queen Awu says Trump did say we will only have to vote for him one more time. I don't think he ever plans to leave office. Exactly. Exactly. He sure doesn't. Okay? Don't y'all find this all interesting? And then here are some of the individuals. Let's talk about it because we already know Elon Musk. Okay? Elon Musk, founder of America PAC, personally gave $75 million to support Trump-aligned initiatives. Now you have Timothy Mellon, who's a bank heir, mind you. He gave $75 million to MAGA Inc. Miriam Adelson, who's a Las Vegas Sands heir, gave $45 million. Okay? Anthony Pratt, who's an Australian billionaire and businessman, he gave $15 million to MAGA Inc. and $1.1 million to the inaugural fund. Kenneth Griffin, who's the Citadel CEO, gave $1 million donation, publicly confirmed. Overall MAGA donor via finance interest. Robert Mercer, Bernie Marcus, Home Depot co-founder. Please pay attention. Okay, Jeffrey Palmer, Linda McMahon, WWE executives. Kelsey Warren, Energy Transfer, John Paulson, Phil Ruffin, Ike Perlmutter, J. Joe Ricketts, each gave high 6 or 7 figure sums, some over $1 million. And they often did this via super PACs or PACs. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. So you might want to reconsider supporting some of these companies or people. All right? That's what you might want to do. You might want to think twice. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Everyone, please hit that like button on your way out. Please hit the like button on your way out. And with that all being said, Michael McBain said, we paying attention, Queen. Thank you. Okay. Greta Lee said, Kenneth Griffin, Robert Mercer, wow, Queen really doing some homework, putting all Trump donors on blast. Absolutely. And I will continue to put him on blast. And just remember, beloveds, you heard it here first. Okay? You heard it here first. Now, with that all being said, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. For those of you who follow the channel, for those of you who have memberships, I'm going to be going live at 12 o'clock. We're going to read 3 more chapters. We're starting at chapter 7 today. We're going to be reading 3 more chapters of the book about Cassie. Okay? We're going to be reading 3 more chapters. So, with that all being said, make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in. All right? DJ Big Six says, great breakdown, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, I'm up out of here. 12 o'clock, we're back in the house to read some more of the book about Cassie. All right, until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. And for those of you who follow the spiritual channel, beloveds, we will be back on there tomorrow. Okay? And so until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Make sure to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got